Valley. 62 years on, and it's a wildlife haven. The bonus for anglers is it's created some of the best coarse fishing you could hope for. World Championships like this are fished over 2 days by teams of 5 anglers from each nation. They're split into 5 sections, A to E. And remember, this is a feeder championship, so no float fishing. England's man in A section was Stive Ringer. No one was prouder to wear his country's colours. Roach and bream were the main target, and Steve was catching lots of them. Subtle changes to what goes on the hook or in the ground bait recipe are what creates an edge. That ground bait mix is guarded like a state secret, and whatever was in England's was working well. Despite a challenge from Holland's Arno van der Stad, Stive Ringer would win his section with 11 kilos 530. In B, it was Germany's Felix Schermann who led the way with 11 kilos 181. The Dutch were second in B, with England's Adam Wakelin third, 3 kilos behind. In C, Phil Ringer missed out on a section win by less than a kilo, beaten into second by Sweden's Kent Adel. But in D, Mick Viles had things all his own way on peg 17. Mick would return 113 fish for 13 kilos 451 to claim a single point. A brilliant display from the man from Rotherham. In E, Dean Barlow had the worst draw of anyone in the England team. He was at the wrong end of a section where big bream were feeding. But Dean kept fighting and beat all those around him to claim a vital 4th in section with 11 kilos 290. Ireland's Richard Pratt was among the fish on E though. By the time the first day and the Irish weather had finished with the anglers, Richard had landed 20 kilos 176. It meant he was leading the World Championships after day 1. What would it mean to you to be at the top?
Oh, I'd be delighted. Like, we've put a lot of effort in practicing, we've been down loads of times, and hopefully it pays off, do you know what I mean?
So after that first day, England were top with an amazing return of 11 points. Ireland was second on 23, with the Dutch a point back on 24. England's Mick Viles and Stive Ringer both had a chance in the individual stakes, but Richard Pratt of Ireland was favourite to be world champion. Day 2 dawned and the rain had relented. A fantastic event lay ahead, with plenty of drama and emotion to come. Can you give us a sort of an impression of the weight of expectation that's on your shoulders as the Ireland captain? You know, World Championship in your own country, here you are second. I mean, It's big stuff, isn't it?
It is, but we're not getting carried away. It's only half time and today's the second half, so we are doing very well, probably the best, you know, of any Irish team, you know, at the moment, so we're just that elusive coarse fishing medal. We've never had one, so hopefully this year.
Steve, I've never seen you as a nervous person, but how are your nerves today?
Well, it's the biggest day probably in my angling life. Obviously, we've got a chance of a gold medal, so it's what every angler aspires to.
How are you feeling then?
Nervous. Once I got a few fish in the net, same yesterday, first hour a little bit jittery. Once you got a few fish in your net, settle down, that's all you want.
Well, second day pressure is completely different to first day pressure. And, you know, when you're in contention, daft things start happening in the head. You know, I mean, some lads have also got chance of individual. They've got to stop thinking about that. That's first thing. Even though they're only humans, you know, they've got to think of the team. And all they've got to do is keep cool and calm, don't strike too early, pick up on the fish, put the fish in the net, and we'll be OK.
England's manager, Tommy Pickering, knew his team should win gold from here, but the draw had created a few issues. Phil Ringer was in E, but at totally the wrong end of the section, and as far away from a big shoal of feeding bream as he could be. Phil would take one for the team here. He managed 8th in section, with 12 kilos 640, double what had been caught from the same peg on day 1. Cruelly, Richard Pratt's hopes of being crowned world champion were also destroyed at the draw. He could only manage 18th in section from peg 10 of E. In A section, Dean Barlow's 62 fish would help him to second in section, with 8 kilos 880. Crucially for the team though, Ireland and Holland struggled here. In B, Ireland's Tony Kersley produced a stunning display. He landed an incredible 202 fish for 9 kilos 248. That would beat England's Adam Wakelin into second. Back on D, and Mick Viles was catching well, building a weight capable of pushing him to an individual gold. But 7 pegs to his left, Christophe Cattelan of France had found some bigger fish. England still had 2 chances of individual gold. One of them was Stive Ringer in C. But Denmark's Søren Sørensen was trying to spoil that, pushing Steve all the way. At the end of the match, it looked as though England had won the team gold. But as the hooter went, it was anyone's guess who was individual champion. Mick Vile's hopes were crushed by France. Christophe Cattelan took the section with 16 kilos 404 to Mick's 11 kilos 019 in second. Stive Ringer could still win the individual gold medal if he'd beaten Denmark. Steve's weight was 11 kilos 643. Søren Sørensen was his only rival. The Dane said he had about 11 kilos.
10 kilo 017.
10 kilo 0170. Great.
So Stive Ringer had done it. The biggest day of his angling life ended in glory. The emotion spilled out of England's manager.
The Lions are roaring! The Lions are roaring! Go on, mate!
We did it. I never thought I'd feel like this again. And sorry, mate. I never thought I'd feel like this again. It's just the best feeling in the world. And we've created quite a few world champions and a double world champion in Steve. It's unbelievable, really. So.
The tears soon turned to smiles. The host nation Ireland were beaming with pride too. They took silver, their first ever team medal in a world course fishing event. But it was England who achieved the dream, with team gold, Mick Viles claiming the individual bronze, and the biggest prize of all went to Stive Ringer.
Stive Ringer, world champion. How does that sound?
I don't think it's sunk in, to be honest. It's just been an unbelievable 2 days. I just can't. To get team gold and individual gold, like, life doesn't get any better. And I think, like, as it goes for highlights, only my son being born is the only thing that tops this.
You said to me this morning that this was the biggest day in your angling life, Stive Ringer.
Yeah.
Look around your neck.
I know. I've always wanted a gold medal. That's the one sort of thing that's been missing out of my angling achievements, and now I've got 2. You just can't ask for more than that.
Congratulations, mate.
Cheers, thank you very much.